Hello, everybody. This is Brother Kapow. Today's date is February 11th, 2019. And there is so much evil and nastiness surrounding us in the world. The whole world is just demon-possessed. It's just an alien-infested rock. It is Satan's kingdom. He is the god of this earth. He's the god of the air, principalities of the air, his fallen angels, and he is totally wearing out the saints. He is wearing out the saints. And sometimes I feel, I just cry out to God, when are you going to come back and right this wrong? I know it was our fault as humanity from the early stages of the garden. I understand that. And you sent your son, and you sent Jesus Christ, and you gave us salvation, and these things. But there's oftentimes I just feel really just kind of abandoned. You know, you're just surrounded by this incredible evil, this incredible wickedness, day in and day out. And once your eyes become open and you develop that discernment, and your ears are unstopped, and you can hear the truth and you can see the truth and stuff, it's impossible, literally impossible, to go back into your hole and then ignore it. It's impossible then to just forget everything you've learned and not progress any further. You can't do it. You could try to do it. I know people have tried to do it and have tried just to go back and, live their life. I know there's some gentlemen on YouTube that just took off, for a year or two, a hiatus, and quit making videos, quit exposing truth. And they tried to just go back and live a regular life and live their marriage and their jobs and stuff. And they eventually came back. They couldn't do it. They couldn't shut it up. You got a fire inside of you, and you just can't go back to sleep. And as much as sometimes I do want to, and it's like, well, God, I know Satan, I know Lucy Loser is a god of this false reality of this world system, principalities of the air, him and his loser buddies. I understand that, it's not like I need to be convinced who's the greater God. I know who is. I know who eventually wins in the end. But in the time before we get to that end, sometimes it's really hard to go, really? How long? How long? And, and you may feel the same way too. You probably do. If you're listening to the show, you probably feel this way a lot of times where you're just like, how long? And there's some people out there who are able to, for lack of a better term, Pollyanny everything. It's like, well, things are bad, but we just trust in the Lord. And we just focus on the good, and we just focus on the love, of Jesus. And then we just pray for those people. And, maybe, they talk like that. And maybe that works for them. But to me, it doesn't work for me. It's totally unrealistic for me. I know I don't pray for these people. If you're molesting children, if you're to the point where you are raping children, you are beyond any point for me. I'm not saying God can't do miracles in somebody's life, but to me personally, I think when you get to a point like that, you are sold out. You have sold your soul. Your soul belongs to the very pit of hell, the very darkness, so much. I can't just look the other way and go, well, I concentrate on the love of Christ and the good things, and I can't do that. I see that, and I want to see judgment. I want to see recompense. I want to see God's vengeance on this wicked. You know what? I want to see God's vengeance not only on Satan and his angels, but on the very humans who were so blinded and so stupid to ignore the truth. Because it's their fault. It's their fault because it's in front of them. It's in front of them day in and day out. Day in and day out. There are dozens of opportunities for people to hear the truth, to hear the gospel message, to hear any truth. Sheesh. It's all over the place. It doesn't have to be this show. This is just one little teeny grain in the sand of what's out there and people speaking the truth. And, you know, and you think that the people you even know, the people that are in your life, your family, or so-called friends, or even Christian friends, would take the time to at least, listen to what you do, or read a book you wrote, or so, you think it would be that, kind of important, maybe to say, well, what are they talking about? But they don't. They don't care. They don't care. They just care about the things of the world. People have had opportunity after opportunity. There will be a time when the iniquity is filled up, everything is done, but until you get to that point, it gets tough. It gets really tough. And there's a couple of stories that came out just the other day that really got me. And it's just like the extreme wickedness, the extreme depravity, the level of evil that they represent. And I just started feeling abandoned. I just started feeling lost in this world. That my God, knowing full well that He's going to come back, He's going to right these things, He's going to set up His kingdom, punish the wicked. That during this interim, it's like, how deep are you going to let it go? How many innocent souls have to be destroyed in this? And I'm talking about pedophilia today. There's a lot of sins. I could be talking about a dozen different things right now. I could be talking about this whole Baphomet transgender nonsense, or I could be talking about the sodomites, or I could talk about the false religions, the false Christianity that surrounds all of us. I could go on and on. But what disgusts me today is these pedophiles and the level of depravity. And it's like the whole abortion thing. When you're killing and attacking and ruining these little children, it's like you're not just doing evil upon yourself or evil to other adults around you. You're killing and attacking the very innocent. And so that's the problem I have is like, how long, Lord? How much deeper are you going to let this go before you do something? It's really like when Christ said, when I come back, will I find faith? Will there be any faith on the earth? And my answer to that is highly unlikely. I always answer that back going, probably not, because if you keep tarrying, I don't know how any of us are going to be left. How any of us are going to be left. And you know what I mean? I know that there's nothing any man could do to you, whatever, to make you lose your faith in your status and God. Only you can remove yourself from that through your free will. I know that. But it's almost like, when you return, are you going to really find, people who love God with all their heart, their minds, and their souls, and all their strength? You're going to find people who actually obey the law of God that's written on their heart. And sometimes I doubt it. It's really, really hard sometimes. And so you go, well, when I start thinking this way and I start talking this way to myself, then of course Satan always comes and puts a lot of condemnation. And it's like, oh, look at you, talking against, your very God and blah, 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 blah. Well, it's not a matter of, I'm mad at God and I think Satan's the correct God. And, Lucifer, I know that he's an idiot. I know what Lucifer has established here. What he's done is just nonsense, and he's a total loser. I understand that. There's nowhere else to go. I learned that a long time ago. There is no other God. There's nowhere else to go. Because there was a time in my life, if there was somewhere else to go, I would. I would have went to Islam. I would have went to, or back to the New Age. I would have went to Lucifer. I would have went somewhere else because I was so disgusted with my God, And then that's when I realized there was nowhere to go. I'm stuck with you. You're stuck with me. There's nowhere to go. And so I understand that he is the Most High. So I'm not, criticizing God or anything. You got to understand that. But I get weary, and it's like, well, how much longer are you going to let this go? I understand that Lucifer's the bad guy, but you're not looking too good here either by just letting this keep going. And then I know somebody would argue, well, he's waiting for all those to get saved and those who would get saved. I know we don't know the number, who are going to, people could be getting saved right now as I speak somewhere in, China. But it gets hard. And so then I think, God, why are you thinking that way? Why do you have those thoughts? Why can't you think the happy thoughts of all those people that just, post all the happy things on Facebook, right? Oh God, love, we just gotta love one another and just support, just pray for those, that are deceived by Satan, that God will show them the light. Well, I'm sorry. There's a time to plant, there's a time to tear down, there's a time to love, and there's a time to hate. There's a time to pray, and there's a time to curse. There's times to live and a time to die, a time to dance and a time to not dance. And these are tough times right now, and they're evil, dark, evil times. And what I've discovered, and if you feel this way, then you can relate to what I'm talking about. And I know a lot of you can. And I know there's a lot of people that struggle every day. I mean, these poor guys on YouTube that really have a calling, right? They're not ministers, they're not ministries. God, they're the farthest thing from stupid organized Christian religion, the farthest thing from a church. These are guys that the Holy Spirit has given them a discernment in a certain area, and because they're doing the work and using that gift of discernment in a certain area and putting this information out, the Holy Spirit has grown these gentlemen. And I've known a couple of them that have really grown in the Lord, where God is really revealing himself to them in a much deeper way than before. And they're seeing the words of God and the scripture just open up to them because of their obedience and their teachable spirit to learn and using the discernment. They're not locked into all the religious, theological dogma and nonsense and lies that have surrounded us for centuries. And, I listen to these guys and I hear them talk about the trolls, and I hear them talk about the comment section and how they're constantly attacked. And I know a lot of them go, it doesn't bother me. Troll me all you want. I don't care. You're an idiot. But I know it bothers them because after you just can't deal with that day in and day out with stupid people or artificial intelligence or CIA operatives. I don't know what they are or who they are or if they're even real or if they're just stupid kids. I don't know, but you can't deal with that day in and day out of this kind of negativity and people constantly attacking you, and I can always read these comments and you can see where, where they disagree with something, then it gets to be a personal attack. It gets to be a personal attack. And even in regular comments and in regular news article or something, I read one the other day where they were talking about global warming, and it was this stupid newspaper up in Utah, Spectrum. It's owned by USA, a bunch of libtard, left-wing, crazy socialist libtards. And so I'm reading this article on the picture shows all these people at a beach. They're all bathing. They're crowded beach, right? Well, Utah's under snow right now. They're all buried under snow. It's snowing. It's a very bad winter. This picture shows all these people on a beach in bathing suits and stuff. And then it says 2018 was the fourth warmest year in history. Really? And then it goes on and talks about this global warming like it's true. And I'm thinking, you freaking liars. You're constantly lying. You got caught in your lie. Everybody with just half a brain, okay? Well, it's not a whole lot of people. but just half a brain knows that global warming is a friggin' lie. It's just nothing, just a stupid tax scheme. Everybody knows that. You look around and the whole place is freezing. We're not underwater. The ice glaciers didn't melt. Nothing happened. Nothing that was predicted happened because it's not true. And yet they do this stupid article and it's a joke. Well, regular people read this and a lot of them could see right through it. And they're commenting like, really? What's with the snow outside? What's with the, blah, 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 blah. Well, there's one troll that gets on there. And, of course, the troll, you always have to explain scientifically, why the models show that, in fact, the Earth is warming and blah, blah, blah. And this person went through great lengths and did links on this study. So the other person answered him and said, these are all just computer-generated models. This isn't even real science. This isn't even deal. And that other person got so mad, the troll got so mad, it went to a personal attack and then had to say something, well, yeah, you just sit around and wear your Make America Great, again, hat. What did that have to do with any kind of political belief? Or what did that have to do with Trump? Or, you don't know who you're talking to. The guy could have been a socialist just like you. You know what I mean? So I see it even in regular papers, regular comment sections. So you can imagine with these guys that have a discernment channel on YouTube and they're exposing things, whether they're talking about flat Earth or they're talking about the moon landing hoax, space is a hoax, all this NASA crap is a hoax, spinning ball is a hoax. It's all lies. Whatever they're talking about. If they're doing trans investigations and they're looking at these creatures that have male energy and male bodies, these celebrities, if they're exposing Illuminati signs or witchcraft in high places, these guys now put a big target on their back and see these trolls come out, these weak-minded idiots behind a keyboard. They come out and then they attack these people. And they do it over and over and over and over, and they just keep at them. And even YouTube itself or Facebook itself will censor them or demonetize them or take videos down and do that. So day in and day out, Satan begins to wear out the saints. It's in Revelation where he comes to earth. He's a great vengeance because he knows his time is short. And he wears out the saints of God. He wears us out. Okay? I get wore out just reading this stuff, just being around it, just sensing it, just seeing it. I get wore out just even being around some people and sensing the spirit behind them. Just really looking around you and just seeing things for what they are. It just wears thin. So, before you think you're all alone, well, there's some others in our biblical passages that I'm going to show you in a little bit that had the same questions, had the same problems in their days. But let me tell you a little bit about what I'm talking about as far as the evil. I'm going to read you two stories that popped up here recently. And then, you'll see why I'm calling out to God for vengeance and for his return and his setup of the righteous kingdom, because you can't get, in my opinion, how much deeper in evil can we get, right? And our laws seem to protect these things, these demonic entities. This is from Fox News. Florida men plotted to rape girl, age 3. Detailed the disturbing text messages. 2 pictures of these demon-possessed yahoos. They're in their 30s. There's a guy named Laffy. Lafe. I don't know what freaking parent would name your son Lafey. So that shows you something right there. Lafey Best is his name. He's 37 years old. And his partner, Benjamin Worcester, who's 39. That means the man's almost 40 years old. These are grown men. And they were accused of trying to groom and rape a 3-year-old girl. And here's how it goes down. 2 Florida men were arrested for plotting to groom and rape a 3-year-old girl. And detailing their plan in disturbing text messages. It was uncovered by the child's mother. That's what the police said. So this one idiot named Lafey Best, 37 years old, was arrested last Tuesday following the arrest of his friend and sexual partner. So they're sodomites also. Okay, so they're not only just pedophiles of a little girl, the opposite sex, right, of a little girl, pedophiles. They're actually homosexual sodomites also. You know what I mean? So it's like once you get those demons are not satisfied. Sin and evil is not satisfied with the level. It has to keep getting deeper and deeper and more and more and more. Anybody with addiction will tell you that. So this guy has a sodomite partner named Benjamin Worcester, 39 years old, and they were both arrested on charges of lewd or lascivious molestation and conduct, 21 counts of child pornography possession. Authorities began investigating these 2 yahoos after the girl's mother contacted police about text messages. Now, she discovered these on Worcester's phone when the guy was taken to a hospital for an apparent overdose. So these are beautiful people. The girl and her mother moved into Worcester's apartment in December. I know, shake your head. Apparently, this mother didn't know this guy a whole lot, right? And brings her little 3-year-old girl in this man's house. You got to understand one thing about pedophiles. They go through great lengths to groom and have access to children. And even if it means pretending to love a woman, pretending to help them out or be involved in their life, if the woman has children, she should be very suspect of any man who comes into her life, because that's what they do. That's pedophiles. That's why they're in the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts. They're in, church youth groups. They're in schools. Anywhere where there's children, they have access to children. So this mother found this guy's phone lying on a bed, spotted a text message thread between Worcester and his gay friend Best with a sickening description of a plan to groom and rape the 3-year-old girl, whether she was conscious or not. Those are in quotes. Police released portions of the text messages that followed Worcester calling the woman not a very good mom who ignores her daughter constantly. There's a clue there. This woman probably was not paying much attention. He said the girl was young enough that her memories won't stick. Isn't that amazing? Young enough that her memories won't stick. And he told Best that he was looking up items that will safely make kids pass out for a couple hours. At one point, Best responds to Worcester's plans with, "I can't wait." So when the police did a search warrant on the guy's house, they discovered a text message exchange with Worcester along with child pornography. Now, this guy, Best, that was involved in this, he lives with 2 people who have a 20-month-old child. And the police say at this time it's not believed he was a victim of any abuse. However, authorities will continue to follow up investigation. 20-month-old. I guarantee you that kid had been fondled or messed with by this other guy. Okay. So that is a story that came to my attention, and it's hard for me to understand, how long we're just going to let this go. How long the justice system too. You know how that is. Once the attorneys get in there and you know trying to prove this, trying to prove that. Well, they didn't actually do it. They're just texting. You got freedom of speech. You got what I mean. It's interesting to see what these guys are going to end up getting. They're certainly not going to change. You think this is going to change their whole lifestyle, their whole attitude? There's a lot of people out there who want to see these guys, killed. Right? A lot of people. So there's still humans out there who see right through this, and so you just go, how long? Oh God, are you going to let this continue? Are you going to let Satan just? I mean, how deep? Right now, I know there's some people out there who's like, well, the good thing is they got caught. God is in this because the stupid mother found the phone and looked at the text messages and called the police, and that's great. That's great. So the good thing is they got caught, and so they are serving justice and blah blah blah. No, because these two got caught. Right now, as I'm speaking, as you're listening to me, there's thousands of more going on right now that aren't getting caught. There's thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of criminal activity, children getting molested, people harming other people right now, as I speak, that aren't getting caught, that are just as bad, if not worse than this. These guys got caught, but they're not the only ones. They're just one in thousands. So that doesn't do it for me. I'm glad they got caught. I'm glad they got stopped before they hurt that kid. But that doesn't satisfy justice for me. Here's another one from Newsweek. This was sent to me by Heather Robles in relation to the one I just read. She sent me the link to this and said, check this evil out. And I did. So I want to talk about this one too. It says, man wanted for 865 counts relating to child rape. Arrested in Florida after almost a month on a run. Okay, so here's Florida again. What's up with Florida? After about a month on the run from the law, a guy named Garrick Bloom, he was wanted on 865 charges related to child rape, and he was caught in Florida. Okay, so actually the crimes occurred in Pennsylvania, but he absconded to Florida. Now, when I first saw this article, I thought, this cannot be true. This has to be a hoax. It's kind of like the first one. When I first saw the first one, I had to research it a little bit because I thought it was a little too dramatic to be real. I thought this can't be real. But no, it's on Fox News. It's a real story. It really happened. But these things are so unbelievable. And so this one I thought, no, this looks like maybe it's a hoax site or they're, just trying to stir the pot or something. And I had to do a little research on it. And here it is in Newsweek. I had to do a little research on it. It vetted out to make sure it's real because it's so bizarre. But like I said, it's bizarre to us because we don't hear about it all the time. You're hearing it more and more. But this is just one guy out of thousands of sick bastards that are out there running around in our neighborhoods. After about a month on the run from the law, this Garrick Bloom guy was finally arrested in Florida. He's 47 years old. So here's another guy who's a grown friggin' man. 47. He was wanted in Clarion County, Pennsylvania. His offenses range from the year 2007 to 2012. So about a 4-year period. The charges include, and this is why I thought, no, this can't be true. The charges include 216 counts of rape of a child. 216 counts of child rape. 216 counts of deviant sexual intercourse with a child. 2016 counts of indecent assault on a child, 120 counts of statutory sexual assault of a child, 96 counts of statutory sexual assault, and 1 count of endangering the welfare of children. He allegedly groomed, just like these other 2 yahoos wanted to do. They wanted to take this little 3-year-old girl and groom her and rape her, give her drugs to make her unconscious. And like they said, she's young enough that her memory won't stick. It sounds like MK Ultra. It sounds like what the CIA was doing with LSD. It's demonic, and they know we can get in there and split that personality and trauma, and she's not going to she's going to try to repress those memories, and boom, she'll be full of demons. He groomed and assaulted a boy since he was 5 years old, a 5-year-old boy, over a 4-year period. This warrant was issued for Bloom's arrest on the 16th of this month, but he absconded. And after weeks of searching for him, the U.S. Marshals received information that he was in Florida, Tallahassee, Florida, matter of fact. And they arrested Bloom outside the Kearney Center. Now, this is interesting because this center provides 24-hour comprehensive emergency services to homeless people. That's right. That's where he was hanging out, with the homeless people. He's taken into custody without incident, and he's being held there until they take him back to Pennsylvania. One of the U.S. Marshals said that where he was hanging out is a high-traffic area for children getting off school buses. Having a predator like that hanging around Tallahassee would have only been a matter of time. This one gal named Kendra, she frequents the Kearney Center, and she saw the marshals come into the center, handcuff this guy, escort him out. And she wondered what he had done. She says a few minutes before his arrest, she had talked with Bloom, and he seemed like a normal guy. So she says, there are people here that look totally innocent, but you never know what they've done. They might be running from the law or whatever. Moving forward, she said it's a lesson everyone at the center should heed about whom to trust. So, under Pennsylvania law, rape of a child is punishable up to 40 years in prison. So if this guy is convicted of all 216 counts of child rape, and if he's ordered to serve his sentences consecutively, he could be sentenced to 8,640 years in prison. And you and I both know that's not going to happen. But so you can see the disgust factor here, right? So how long? How long is the only one that can do anything about it is our God, right? There's only one that can actually do anything about any of this, right? We can't do anything about it. Our lawmakers can't do anything about it. Certainly, Hillsong Church can't do anything about it. Only one deity, the almighty deity, can do anything about it. And it just seems, when you read these stories day in and out, that nothing's being done. And it gets frustrated, and so then, I start thinking this way, and then I feel bad. But then I remembered these scriptures here, and I had Ms. Capel look these up for me. And I'm sure there's more, but I'm going to read you 3, just to let you know, if you feel any way the way I do, you're not alone. Let's start with Habakkuk. In the book of Habakkuk, this Habakkuk is a prophet. He was a prophet. And this is right before the Babylonians came over and just totally destroyed Judea back in 586 BC. Because of all the sin and all the occult and all the sodomy and all the child rape and sacrificing the kids to Moloch and all this crap that we do today, they were doing, the God's people, Israel, was doing. They were going the way of every pagan nation around them. So this is right before God sent the Babylonians to totally, destroy them, except for that little remnant that came out, Ezra and Joshua, those guys. And the same thing happened in AD 70, and the same thing's going to happen here pretty soon, Same thing's going to happen here pretty soon. It can't happen soon enough. So this is verse 1, or I should say chapter 1 of Habakkuk. And he's a prophet. This is the oracle he saw, and this is what he says. He says the same thing I am saying today. He said way back then, so it makes me feel better. He says, how long, O Lord, will I call for help and you will not hear? That's how he opens up. How long, my God, will I rant and rave about this stuff and read these stories and ask you to come and reward the wicked, but you're not listening, you're not hearing, right? Habakkuk says, I cry out to you. He's crying out to God. I cry out to you. Violence, quote unquote, violence. I cry out to you, violence. That's what he's telling God. And then Habakkuk says, yet you do not save. How long, O Lord, will I call for help and you will not hear? I cry out to you, quote, violence, end of quote, yet you do not save. So right now I'm calling out to God, pedophilia, child molestation, child rape, plans to groom and rape a 3-year-old girl, a man who's wanted for 865 counts of child rape. How long, O Lord? But you don't listen, yet you do not save. Verse 3, Habakkuk says, why do you make me see iniquity? You know, I complain about that all the time. You know, why'd you call me to see all this stuff? Why'd you even open my eyes and my ears so I can ramble on a podcast to a few people? Why'd you even do that? Why do you even make me see iniquity? You know, the Hebrew word is avin. Means trouble, sorrow, wickedness, distress, wrongdoers. That is, am I making sense? I mean, this is exactly what I'm feeling. Habakkuk, well before 586 BC, wrote the same thing down. So I'm not in bad company. Okay, I'm not the only guy distressed about this. So he says, why do you make me see iniquity and cause me to look on wickedness? Same word, trouble, wickedness, mischief, misery. Why do you cause me to look on this? Why? What's the purpose of it? He says, yes, destruction and violence are before me. Strife exists and contention arises. I'm reading it in the paper every day. Poor Habakkuk was reading it in the paper every day. Habakkuk was opening up his Facebook page every day and looking at this nonsense and seeing people, you know, who are still asleep. You know, they're still slumbering. They're still just thinking everything is fine and dandy. What problems? What storm? You know, what solar minimum? Do we have global warming? You know? Verse 4, he says, therefore the law is ignored. What law? That's the law of God. That's God's instructions, his teachings. Therefore the law is ignored, and justice is never upheld. Remember, I read those stories, and I said, we know what's going to happen to these guys, especially the guys that were texting on planning to groom and rape this 3-year-old girl and give her drugs. They were planning on it through text messages, and they had charges of pornography. You know what's going to happen in court. They're going to plead guilty with the child porn and get their little slap on the wrist. And if they decide to go to jury trial, I mean, these attorneys, I mean, they were planning on that. How are you going to prove that? That was their mindset. I mean, you know, what if one of them says, no, we weren't doing that. We were writing a book. We're researching information for a book. So we were just exchanging ideas. Those were private text messages. She violated my constitutional rights, right? She violated my constitutional rights. I have freedom of speech to talk to my my friend, my gay lover, privately, but she violated my rights. And when the police, looked at those text messages, they did so without the proper Fourth Amendment warrants and violated my rights. And then the pedophile judge will, let them go. So we know that. And Habakkuk says, therefore the law is ignored and justice, what these people deserve is never upheld. Last week I talked about the judge who let this pedophile out 3 times. And while he was out on bail, he kept raping kids. The same judge kept letting him out, and he kept raping kids 3 times. Freedom Friday, last Friday I talked about that. And Habakkuk goes on, he says, for the wicked surround the righteous. Remember I told you? Satan wearing out the saints. For the wicked, the word is rasha, means wicked or criminal, evil man. Wicked men, the offender, wicked ones, ungodly people. They surround, they encircle the righteous, those who are blameless before God and have right standing. Therefore, justice, right, comes out perverted, twisted, comes out perverted. That's why. Habakkuk said that centuries ago. Lord, I cry out, there's violence, you don't do anything. I see strife and contention, the law is ignored. They're surrounding the righteous. It's all perverted. Now, on a good note, from verse 5 on, God answers back. God answers and says, look among the nations, observe, be astonished, wonder, because I am doing something in your days, you would not believe it, even if you were told. So Habakkuk's what? God says, for behold, I am raising up the Chaldeans, those Babylonians, that fierce and impetuous people who march throughout the earth to seize dwelling places which are not theirs. They are dreaded and feared. Their justice and authority originate with themselves. Their horses are swifter than leopards. It goes on and on and on. Basically what God is saying, I hear what you're saying. You're not going to believe what I'm doing. But, hang on, bud. Don't get your bun in a knot. I'm bringing some extreme justice on these buttholes that you're talking about, the wicked people that surround you. And I'm using the Chaldeans. And he did. 586 BC, they totally destroyed everything. And the Israel, the north and south nations, there was a Israel, then there was Judah. They had been scattered and removed back in 721 BC by the Assyrians for the same nonsense. And then Judah was destroyed and removed for the same nonsense, 586 BC. A remnant came back and reestablished, but Israel was never established after the Babylonian captivity like they were before, never. So they always lived under somebody's rule. And then, you go through the Maccabean period, the Hasmoneans, and, Jesus comes. And then they reject their God, and they want to hide the fact that their Messiah came. And that's why you only have 66 books in your Bible, and you don't have the books of Enoch and Jubilees and Adam and Eve and a lot of these other texts you don't have because they point to Messiah, Book of Barnabas, things like that. These men, these councils have decided what you were going to read, when you were going to read it. And it's all a big lie. It's all a big hoax. Their translations are lies, hoaxes. They've defiled the word of God and perverted justice. And they did that because they hate God and they hate the Messiah. And so God totally destroyed that nation in AD 70 and it's over. Divorced it, right? Ended it. The remnant of Israel is both Gentile or Jew. It has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with your heart being changed in Jesus Christ. So don't get all Hebraic and all nutty because we're all one in the Lord now. So don't get all, goofy about Israel and all that stuff. It's all a lie. So the Lord in Psalms 94:3 goes like this. Now, I don't know if David wrote this or not, but the Psalms are very prophetic. So here's another prophet saying, "O Lord God of vengeance." He says it right there. He calls him God of vengeance. O Lord, O Yahweh of vengeance, O God of vengeance. He says it twice. God of vengeance. O Lord God of vengeance, God of vengeance. Shine forth. Well, what does that mean, shine forth? That means get out there. Come out. Reveal yourself. Shed your light. Come out and do something. O Lord, God of vengeance, God of vengeance. Twice it said. That there's emphasis there. Shine forth. Rise up, O judge of the earth. Rise up, O judge of the earth. Render recompense. Award what they deserve. Render recompense to the proud. How long shall the wicked, O Lord? How long shall the wicked exalt? He says it again twice. It's emphasis there. It's the same question that I've been asking all day. How long shall the wicked, O Lord? How long shall the wicked exalt? Which means be jubilant, rejoice. Nothing could happen to them. They pour forth words, they speak arrogantly. All who do wickedness vaunt themselves. They crush your people, O Lord, and afflict your heritage. They slay the widow and stranger and murder the orphans. You know what they say in verse 7? They have said, the Lord does not see, nor does the God of Jacob pay heed. He's not paying attention. Pay heed, you senseless among the people, and when will you understand, stupid ones? That means dullard fools. Stupid ones. And it goes on and on and on, that God will do something. The point I want to make is, back then, the psalmist says, how long, O Lord? How long? How long before you do something? Okay? And the last one I want to read to you is Revelation 6:10. This has something to do with the fifth seal, the martyrs. When the Lamb broke the fifth seal, I saw underneath the altar the souls of those who had been slain. The souls had been slain because of the Word of God. That's the Logos of God, Jesus Christ. And because of the testimony which they had maintained. And guess what they did? They cried out with a loud voice, saying, you know what they said? Guess. How long, O Lord, holy and true, how long will you refrain from judging and avenging our blood on those who dwell on the earth? So you think that was all lovey? You think those souls under the altar were all lovey, going, well, you know, we got to pray for those who spilt our blood and they dwell on the earth, and those ones who killed us, for the word of God and for our witness. We gotta love them. We gotta love them into the kingdom. They didn't say that. You know what they said? They cried out with a loud voice, saying, "How long are you going to refrain from judging and avenging us, avenging our blood on the earth?" Yeah, and they were given a white robe, and they were saying, "Hey, rest a little bit, a while longer, until your number is completed. Then something's going to happen, but your number has to be completed." All right, so that's about it. That's kind of what I wanted to go over. And so, when you get disgusted with these things like I do, and I know you do, and you can't quite make sense out of it, you're not alone. You're in good company. The prophets of the Old Testament, and also in the book of Revelation in the New Testament, say the same thing. How long, O Lord? And there's always answers there. With us, we know the answers are already written. We don't know how long, but we know that it will fill up, eventually. It just gets hard to look at, and it gets disgusting as days goes on, and, to look at it day in and day out. deal with the stupidity that surrounds you. All right, so that's about it. So you guys take heed out there. Take heed on everything you do. Pay a lot of attention. Use your discernment on everything. Everything. See what's true, what's a lie. But I'll tell you right now, if it's not of God, it's not true. If it doesn't come directly from the words of God, it's just not true. You got to question everything. Take heed that you're not deceived. There's a lot of deception out there. And if he was able to, he's going to deceive the very elect. Don't think that can't be us, all right? Because it can be. Right? Okay, so good night, and we will talk to you later.
Here we wait for Judgment Day. Eyes were told to watch and pray. Help me, Lord, to firmly stand, waiting for that Son of Man. No, my trouble, Lord, dismay, waiting for that Judgment Day. Sun and moon will soon go dark. There is chaos in the stars. All the earth is gonna groan. All the people gonna moan. All this life is swept away. Yeah, when it comes on Judgment Day. To watch and pray. Help me, Lord, to firmly stand, waiting for that Son of Man. No, my trouble.